it's much better for kids to come from a broken home than to live in one. And I think once you can wrap your head around the fact that it's okay if things don't work out, as long as you surround yourself and surround your little family with love and confidence and discipline, sure, and support, that those kids will grow up to be the best fucking versions of themselves that they could possibly be. And it doesn't matter about the other stuff, because ultimately kids just need to feel loved and supported, and you can't control other people's behavior. And also, uber ick if someone doesn't want to be involved in their child's life. Like, ew, no, we don't hang around with people like that, right? So if anyone's going through that right now, and you know, I've met many people over the last couple of months who are going through a very similar situation, just know, A, the way that someone else behaves is rarely anything to do with you. It's often to do with themselves. So number one, so if someone's being nasty to you, it's not about you, it's about them. If someone doesn't want to be involved in your kid's life, that's about you. It's not about them. I appreciate there is nuances there around you having to support that child and making sure that that child's okay. But like, it's not about you or the kid. It's about that person, right? And number three is, it's better for children to come from a broken home than live in one. No one wants to grow up in an environment that is unstable, that is angry and aggressive, and or none of those things. It could just be fucking cold and loveless. No child should have to grow up watching their parents hate each other or not even be affectionate, right? You should grow up with good parenting role models. And I actually think myself and my ex-husband are great parenting models. We decided we didn't love each other anymore, and so we're not together. And he's gone off, and now he's got his own thing going on, and I've gone off and got my own thing going on, and we're a great family unit. We're just not married. That's a great role model. What a great setup for our kids to be able to go, you know what? Mum and dad had us. They decided they didn't want to be together anymore, so they stopped being together, but they're still great parents, and they still get on, and they still love us, and they still support us. So I know when I'm older that if it doesn't work out, I have options. What a fucking great example to set your children, that failure is fine. When things don't work out, you're still fine, right? So yeah, if anyone's going through it right now, my heart is out with you, because I know how fucking hard it is, but it will be fine. You will be fine. So yeah, that's a message to that amazing person that I met, and to anyone that's going through something similar. Next failure. Oh, okay. So these are questions. I'm going to go through those in a sec. We've got one more story about failure, and then I'm going to go into some questions, because people have like spun me some questions about failing that I think might be quite interesting. Okay, this is an interesting one. Why do so many people tell you that your business is most likely going to fail and that you should stay in your employment where you are? I understand starting a business is a risk, but I believe that if you do your homework and you put the time in, you'll have a very high chance of succeeding. The people who say to stick in your job are most likely people that are employed by someone else and haven't ever tried self-employment. Are they jealous, scared, or don't want to see someone else achieving their dreams? It's really disheartening to hear on it as someone who's just started their own business. Okay. I had this so much when I first started Clout. I had it from my parents, right? I had it from my parents. I had it from my ex. I had it from my friends of like, oh, risky to start a business, particularly in the middle of a pandemic when you've got a safe job, risky. The thing is, people often say you can't when they mean I can't. Let me say that again. People often say you can't do something when they mean I can't do something. People don't like seeing other people that they care about take risks, because they think if it fails, that person is going to be fucked. And that is a projection of their insecurities onto you. It's got nothing to do with you. No one who loves you is saying don't do that because they don't want you to win. They're saying don't do that because they're worried that it's not going to work out, and then you're going to be sad, and that's going to make them sad, right? Not everyone is a hater. Not everyone is a naysayer. There are lots of those that do exist, trust me. But not everyone is that way. And I think we have this like really cut dry attitude towards people that don't quote unquote support us, and like going like, oh, like they're a hater, they're jealous. No, like some people just genuinely don't want you to fuck up because they love you and they don't want to see you sad. And that's okay, right? But also don't accept their insecurities as like part of your journey. You can listen to people's feedback, and you can listen to people's lack of support and accept that, and then still go and do what the fuck you want to do anyway. If you're waiting for other people to support to start a business or quit a job or quit a relationship or start a relationship, you're going to be waiting forever. You need to work on your dime, people, not on other people's, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, a lot of people will tell you that businesses fail because they do. 90% of startups fail. 90%. And that's in the first 2 years. In the next 4 years after that, it's like another fucking 40% of the ones that survive still fail. So statistically, you're going to fail if you start a business. Like, it's not like, oh, work really hard, apply yourself, do lots of work and you succeed. No, you probably will still fail. But the difference is the people that accept the failure as part of success are the ones that succeed. Because as I said earlier, you start 50 businesses, 45 of them will fail, 5 of them will be fucking amazing, right? Don't accept other people's insecurities and lack of confidence in their own abilities stop you from achieving your dreams, okay? It's got nothing to do with them not wanting to support you. It's got nothing to do with them being jealous. It's just the fact that they don't think it's going to work and they don't want you to be sad. Or they're just a hater. It's one of the two. Next. Anyone else feel like a failure all the time? My first full year in business, I've been doing it since 2023, but made the leap. I've been doing it part-time since 2023, but made the leap into full-time in March. I'm currently doing fairly well. Made 200 grand last year and 100 grand profit before taxes. That's fucking unreal. So by all accounts, I should have felt good about it since I don't know many people who've even got that far. But I constantly feel like a failure. I hit 20 grand per month almost immediately after going full time, and then just got stuck there. Somewhat seasonal, so slow months of 10 to 15K. Nothing I do seems to move the needle past 20 though a month. Spending thousands on business coaches and education to try and break through the ceiling and have very little to show for it so far. I left a prestigious job on paper that paid me super well, and I feel like a loser every single month that I don't meet my goal. I'm barely scraping by on my minimum required salary. I've got 2 kids, so 100 grand a year isn't really enough to maintain. By the way, it sounds like this person has a lot of other debt as well from their student loans, and it's an American story, okay? So Brits, $100,000, not pounds. And dipping into savings during slower months when I can't even make that. Does anyone else feel this way? How do you get past it? Beyond just making money, because that would be obviously make me a lot happier. Okay. There's a couple of things, and this is going to be a slight biz coach, but also like the failure thing too. I think a lot of people put unrealistic expectations on what they can achieve on themselves within a short period of time. And I certainly did that, right? When you hit 20K a month and you go, well, why aren't I hitting 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70? It might be because they're unrealistic expectations. Like if your business isn't scalable to that point, you're never going to hit it, right? So it doesn't matter how much money you spend on business coaches or leadership stuff or learning. If you can't scale what you've got past 20K, you're never going to scale it past 20K, right? You need to work out how to scale it first. So that might be the first thing. The second thing is feeling, and the most important part I want to take out of that story is the feeling like a failure all the time. Let me tell you something. Every single person I have met who I believe to be successful on paper, financially, but also in life, they all have imposter syndrome. Every single one of them. Every single person I've met, it's almost like the more successful and the more intelligent you are, the more you feel like an imposter. And we all feel like a failure from time to time. It's what makes us human, actually. And I have this theory that when you lean into imposter syndrome, when you lean into feeling like you're not good enough at something, it actually helps keep you competitive because it identifies in your brain what you're not good at and what you can improve on, and therefore how you can then take the next step forward in your life. It's like I was saying earlier, you need to know what doesn't work in order to work out what works. So if whatever you're doing right now isn't working, great. You can now scrape that off the list of things that you want to try, and you can try the whole new list of things, and maybe one of those things will work. And that is kind of imposter syndrome. That's what this person's referring to, right? I feel like a failure all the time. Okay, cool. So what have you tried? Those things didn't work. Scrape them off. Try the new things. And I think when you have this constant momentum of like trial, fail, try, fail, try, fail. I didn't even say that right. Can you tell I'm recovering from a 2-day hangover? Try, fail, try, fail, try, fail. When you do that over and over again and you move really fast, that's why people say fail fast, right? Fail fast, learn fast, move on. When you do that all the time, you start stacking up all of these ideas, failed ideas, but also positive ideas, and you start to learn. And that's ultimately where you get confident in things and you can move on to the next thing to feel like you're an imposter in. So I got really good at personal branding. I was like, cool, tick that off the list. Let's go do something else. Start a podcast. Started off shit. And now we're doing okay. So yeah, speaking of which, if you enjoy this podcast, please share it with other people. Please leave us a review. I really want to grow this podcast. Like, it's honestly my passion project right now. I'm obsessed with it. I love interviewing all these incredible people. I love speaking to these amazing guests. I love doing these solo ones too, of me just rambling for an hour and speaking to you. It's like the only time we get to speak, right? Maybe I should do that more often. But if you enjoy this, please share this with a friend, with a mum, with a brother, with a colleague, and ask them to leave us a review. And please, please, please subscribe, because the more subscribers we get and the more listens we get and the more reviews we get, the better the podcast becomes and the more I can make of them. Because my dream really is to turn this into a media company. Like, I would love to do this podcasting thing full time. I love it. I love interviewing people. And I think I do an okay job of it. That's why you guys keep listening and the numbers keep climbing every month. So thank you so much. But the more of that we get, the more we can do. And yeah, I just thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. So yeah, going back to imposter syndrome, I felt like an imposter when I first started doing this podcast. And now I can sit in front of 2 cameras and chat shit for an hour by myself, no problem. So, you know, horses courses. Failure is not a bad thing, guys. You should embrace it. Okay, so last few bits before I get booted out of my studio is I'm going to read 2 questions that I've got from you guys on Instagram about failure that I've been asked, right? When in your career did you realize that failing was the way to best move forward? That's a really good question. I don't think there was a specific point where I learned that failure was a good thing. I think it's because I failed so many times, but I've learned so much from those failures that I've started to embrace it as a concept. So, for example, let me give you a real life example. I have a theory, as I said earlier, that like everything's going to work out for me. So it doesn't matter like whether that date I went on was shit, because my life's going to work out for me. It doesn't matter whether that pitch I did last week, I fumbled my words, because my life is going to work out for me. And I only think I've come to that conclusion because I've had so much failure in my life, and every single time I've been fine. Like, let me tell you, I've had months I couldn't pay my mortgage. I've had months that I couldn't pay my rent. I've had maxed out credit cards. I've had bills up to my fucking eyeballs. I've had to take loans out to pay debts, right? Take debt out to pay debt. I've been in that situation. I've been in that horrendous situation time and time again. And I've been fine, guys. No one died. I'm still here, thriving, I might add. And I think we all put so much pressure on ourselves because we think that if all these bad things happen, we can't come back from them. Let me tell you, you can come back from a maxed out credit card. You can come back from a missed mortgage payment. You can come back from jail, right? I mean, depending on what you went in for. You understand what I'm saying, though? We can all come back from our missteps. And that is part of the human experience, is going from thing to thing and just figuring it out as we go along. This life doesn't come with any fucking manuals, right? But if you get to the end of it and you have regrets, you fucked up big time. And that is the only failure that you should really accept. It's like if you're 92 years old and you look back and you think, damn, I wish I'd done more things or I tried more things, then you fucked up big time. Big time. So failure should be embraced as part of success. And it wasn't one point in my career or in my life that I realized that failure was a good thing. It's been like something that I have been working on, shall we say, as a side project for 33 years that I've been on this earth.